right? So you need to make sure that the rice meets itself on the other side when you roll it up, okay? Let's get to the next step. Okay, now I'm going to turn this over. So just kind of flip that edge up, turn it over. So now you can see no rice on top, okay? So now I'm going to put the filling in the lower quadrant, okay? So I've got, if you divide this into 4, right along that, between the line 1 and the beginning of part 2 here, that's where I'm going to put the filling, because otherwise I'm not going to get a good seam on this. So let me put that in here. I'll show you this in just a second. A little bit of carrot right alongside it, okay? Again, if you have cucumber or avocado or anything else, right? Fairly small pieces, line them up with the other fillings, right? So I'll bring this up. And now you can see, hopefully without sliding off, how that looks. Ah, there goes my carrots. 1 second here, I'll show you from the side too, so you can see. All right. Okay, so here's the edge of the nori. Here's the salmon. Here's the carrots, right? Nothing goes past the halfway point, all righty? All right, I'm gonna, next here, let's see if you can see all of this. I'm gonna move this up just a smidge. Now, can you still see? Because this is really the hard part. So I'm gonna kind of get you a top view here. Okay, can y'all see that? Basically? Okay, good. Because I can see it too. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up the back end of the rolling mat with my thumb and first finger here. Then I'm gonna tuck it over the top. Okay, now you can still see, here's my edge of nori. Here's that back bent, right? I bent the rolling mat back. And when I do this, when I take it back, now you can see this is where the seam is going to be. Okay, so now I'm just going to roll it forward. And there's your basic roll right there. Okay, next we got to tighten it up just a bit. So I'm going to just, you don't want it super tight, right? When, I'm going to move this back now. Okay, I'm going to readjust here. Okay. So now I'm going to bring this back up where you can see. Okay, there's the roll. You're going to say, well, it looks square. Yeah, if you go to most sushi bars, when you look at it at the end, it's not round. It looks pretty well squared like that, okay? So don't worry about it if it looks square. Don't try to get it round. That's not important. Okay, you can see it's also, right? It's about 1 inch or so on each side, so it's not huge, alrighty, but it's nice and tight. You don't want it so tight that the rice is squashed together. One reason is that it'll start pushing your fillings out the end. The second reason is that it should almost fall apart as soon as it hits your mouth, okay? So you dip it just a little bit in your soy sauce, you put it in your mouth, and it should literally crumble away. That's why a lot of places you go to, let's say, I'm gonna single out Costco, okay? Go to Costco, get Costco sushi, right? You get a sushi pack at Costco, look at the rice, okay? It looks like one continuous sheet of white, right? Because A, they overcook the rice so it doesn't get crunchy by the next day, and B, they really over squeeze it, right? So I could use Trader Joe's also. Their Trader Joe's sushi is awful, right? Costco sushi, awful. I know, okay, they're probably going to sue me for that, but yeah, it's easy enough to do this at home, right? and it's better if you don't squeeze it too much. All right, so let me do another one. Okay, so let's put that off to the side. Once you get this making the seam and getting the roll done, right, this stuff becomes really easy. It only takes, literally, it only takes a few minutes. Mise en place takes far longer for making this than making the rolls does, okay? And even that's not that hard, depending on what you want to put in. Okay, so I'm just going to push my rice out again, out to the edges. Okay. The edges. Again, I'm pushing, not squishing, right? Don't squish your rice. Okay. Sitting here. Put my filling. Again, not too much filling because then you won't get a nice steam, and then your rolls will fall apart. Okay. A little bit more of the carrots. Okay. Then I'm gonna tuck that first end in. And there we go. Okay. So there's roll number 2. See? Already, let's see now. If you were at your local sushi bar, right, and you were ordering a spicy salmon roll in Chicago, probably run you what, $8? Okay.
Even more, so possibly.
Probably about 30 or 40 cents worth of rice. If you charge for the whole can of salmon, that's $1.50, right? And a little bit extra time and some of your time. That's it, right? And I could make out of 2 cups of rice and 1 can of salmon, I could probably make 7 rolls. Okay, they're all going to be the same roll, right? But it's sushi, right? And it's inexpensive and it's relatively easy to do. So now we're going to come to the next part. Move my extra mise off the side here. Now I'm going to need to keep my water for this because your knife is going to stick to the sushi rice just like your hands do. So when I go to cut this stuff, I'm going to want to make sure that my knife blade is at least damp, okay? You can use a nice clean cloth with just plain water, right? You don't want to put soap or anything silly on that. Just don't do it, right? Or keep your bowl of water handy. You want a nice little service plate. I have my nice little service plate here. I have a little container for my soy sauce. I have my beautiful little chopsticks. Let's make a little wasabi. So I've got just a bowl. I've got my dry wasabi. We're not going to need a lot, right? A couple of tablespoons of dry wasabi is going to make all you're going to need. Trust me. I could share a wasabi story with you, but I'm not going to do that right now. Just a little bit of water. And hey, we got wasabi, right? Okay, nice little wad of wasabi. That's enough for probably about 2, maybe 3 rolls, okay? So I'm just going to take a little, put it on my plate, okay? I'm going to put a little bit of soy. You don't need a lot, all right? Nice little bit of soy, like so. And now I'm going to just put this off to the side so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay. Keep your hands wet when you're handling the rolls, otherwise they'll stick to your hands too. Okay. Just a little bit of water on the edge of your blade. First, cut the roll in half. Okay. Next, we're going to put the cut ends together, like so, right? Here's the cut ends, lined up. A little bit more water. Next, I'm going to cut the rolls in 8 pieces. You can do them in 6s or 8s. Doesn't really matter. That's a stupid phone again.
You're just in demand, chef.
Pardon me.
They're calling to get the Wasabi Story.
And we'll put down here. Okay, now I'm going to bring it up. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit better view here because I don't want it to roll off. There you go.
Lovely.
Okay. So now, just a suggestion, you're going to want to have one of these. And maybe one of these. Okay.
I love it.
So it's great to have Japanese beer, right?
Yeah.
A little Kirin, right? Something along Asahi, right? Really nice, light, crisp, easy to drink. They go really well with sushi. You don't particularly want to pair sushi with like a really hefty IPA or a stout, right? I mean, you can get, even Japanese dark beers tend to be fairly light and crisp, right? But something that has a lot of lingering flavor, especially with fresh fish sushi, right? If you use something that's really intense, right, that has lingering flavor, it's going to overpower what you're eating, okay? And that's never any good. So, you know, a little, just a touch of wasabi, you put a little bit on there, a little dip.
How is it?
The sushi I've had today.
Awesome.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Well,
Okay, I'll open the floor to questions.
yeah, does anyone have any questions? We have people asking for the Wasabi Story, so.
Oh, you want the wasabi story? I'm not proud of this. Okay, I'm gonna come up just a smidge closer here. All right. So the wasabi story, well, that's cutting my head off anyway. So back years ago, when I was working for Hotel Sofitel in San Francisco, and I have to give you a little backstory for this. So I told the chef, because they were buying all their sushi in for banquets, I was like, we can do that, chef. And he's like, you know how to do that? Oh, of course I do. I had no idea, right? But I told him yes. So the next time we had a big sushi party came along, it was for Nikon Camera, who was opening a new plant right there in Redwood Shores development area. And they bought the whole hotel out. And there was about 500 people showed up, and I had to make sushi for 500 people. And it was a bit of an eye opener, you might say. But I was mixing up 2 bags of wasabi, which is about 4 kilos. Okay, 2 big bags, a lot of frickin' wasabi. And there was another culinary, and I was an intern at the time, right? So there was another culinary intern there who I just could not stand. I couldn't stand this kid. He was all over my nerves and just was, anyway, didn't like him at all. So if you've ever mixed dry wasabi up, right, it gases off a little bit because most of what commercial wasabi is mustard flour, right? And if you ever mix mustard flour and water, you know, you get that, it's going to make you go like, So I had this big bowl of wasabi that I had just mixed up, and he says, what's that? And I was like, well, why don't you sniff it? And he did, right? So he stuck his head down in the bowl and took a big whiff. And he was on the floor for the next few minutes. So I'm not proud of it, but there's my wasabi story. Oh, yeah. I'm much nicer now, right? I wouldn't do that to the students nowadays.
No.
No, I would never think of it. No.
Oh gosh. So we had a question about pickled ginger.
Sure.
So
Okay.
basically, would you recommend it with this? Where could they get pickled ginger? Could they make any of their own?
Well, making pickled ginger from scratch has got a couple of problems, right? Because most ginger that you find commercially is fully mature ginger, and it's got a lot of fibers in it, right? So it's kind of tough. That's why you have to chop it really fine, cut it across the grain, chop it fine to be able to put it in your food. So pickled ginger is generally made from young ginger, and occasionally you find young ginger in the grocery. It's got kind of a pinkish skin, right? When you cut it, you don't see any obvious fibers in it. So realistically, making your own is a bit of a problem. I mean, you can make it with mature ginger. It's just going to be tough to eat and stringy. So now you can get pickled ginger at basically any grocery store. Go to go to a Jewel, and you can go to their international section and you'll find it. Now it ain't cheap, right? And it's usually like Sushi Kitchen brand, right? Which is okay. You know, you can also, I also looked on Amazon. They've got like 5 or 6 different brands that you can buy online. It usually comes in a jar. Once this is all over and you're wanting to buy pickled ginger, if you go to, say, Super H Mart or Jongbu Market, one of the big Korean markets. Now, we're not talking Japanese markets here, unless you want to go all the way out and go to Mitsuwa, right, which is way the hell on out. And you can buy unjarred, not pasteurized ginger, which tastes way better. Okay. And it's cheaper too, right? You can buy it in a place where it's sold regularly. But you can get it. Again, you can get it online, and it's perfectly passable. Actually, I've got a jar I don't know why I didn't pull it out. I've got a jar in the fridge. Nobody else eats it but me. The kids basically won't eat sushi like this. They like the tofu pouches, right? The inari sushi, but most stuff like this, they don't like it. And my wife's like, it's good for an appetizer, right? But she doesn't really eat that much either. Mostly it's just me, which is too bad, right? But the students love it.
So I had another question. How long can the prepared wasabi be saved?
Oh, you can save it for a week. Sure.
Awesome. And then
just make sure it's tightly wrapped.
And then do you recommend wasabi powder or the pre-made paste?
No, I like the powder, because once you open the paste, you got to use it within like about a week, and then if you haven't used it, it's done, right? And the powder, 1 can will last for a year. You can keep it for a long time.
Okay. All right. I think we're good with everyone's questions. Again, if anyone thinks of any questions afterwards, you're always welcome to reach out to taste@nl.edu. And if you have anything, I can forward that along to Chef and get answers to you. Again, we will have our next Taste Talk tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Tomorrow at noon. We will be doing a cheese boards. It's going to be fantastic. Chef, do you have any parting words for us about sushi or anything else?
Well, my parting words for this are pretty much the same thing I tell the students whenever we do Sushi Fridays, is like, you've never done it, don't worry about it. If it's, if the first couple are a little ugly, so you're eating it, it's fine. If it just completely gets away from you, put it all in a bowl and eat it like that, right? But don't be afraid of it, right? It's actually very easy.
Yeah, it's definitely something that's a practice makes perfect kind of situation. So.
And it's way cheaper to do it at home too.
That's true. Well, thank you again so much, Chef. I know everyone had a great time. We're here. I'm seeing lots of thank yous. This was great. Everyone really, really enjoyed this presentation. So happy to get to see Chef Quirk, since we can't see him in the QSR in the evenings right now. So it's so exciting to get to see you on a Tuesday at lunchtime.
Yeah, so, well, those days are coming again. So
I know we're excited for when they come back. So thank you, everyone. Again, any other questions or anything, please reach out to me at taste@nl.edu, and we will see you all at the next Taste Talk. All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Yeah.
Okay.